Hey everyone, got another mod that I plan on doing on my Kramer Baretta Special. Um, if you saw my last video, then you saw that I installed a brass tremolo block in the guitar. This one's going to be a little more involved and a little bit more permanent. I'm actually going to be installing a kill switch in the guitar. If you're watching this, you probably already know what a kill switch is, but for those who don't know, it's basically just a switch that cuts out the signal from the guitar. Um, in most cases, they are a momentary switch because they're used for musical effect. You can get kind of like a stuttering effect with them, and then you can also get you can also mess around with feedback, get some Morse code type sound stuff like that. Although there are some people that install an actual on off, use it as like an actual on off switch, so they will install an actual switch that you can turn on and off. Um, and then in most cases, they are a push button switch, just because it makes it easier to when you can sit there and tap the switch. Although there are some people that do use toggle switches. And in fact, if you have if you have a guitar that has a volume control on each pickup, you can actually roll the volume all the way down on one and roll it all the way up on the other, and then actually use your pickup selector as a kill switch. But generally, an actual kill switch, to you'll be able to press it much faster than you can if you're toggling your pickup selector back and forth. Um, so I did actually go and buy an actual switch, an actual push button switch here. This is just a generic push button switch I found on Amazon. Um, and really, that's all you really need is just any sort of like momentary switch. There are companies like Tessie that do make push button switches specifically for guitar kill switches. Those are kind of cool. Some of them actually light up, and then some of them are also they're like arcade style. They're kind of like an arcade style button, but really any push button switch will work. Um, this is normally a mod that I don't really do on my nicer, more expensive guitars because, like I said, this is going to be a permanent mod. I will have to actually add a hole for the switch. And in my experience, even if you're gonna do something like rip a tone circuit out and use the existing hole, a lot of times these push button switches are too wide for the existing hole, and you end up having to make the hole bigger. So in my experience, this really is a permanent, irreversible mod. So it's not really something you want to do on an expensive guitar, especially if you're the type of person that buys and sells a lot of your guitars because you're just gonna kill the resale value. But this being a $200 guitar, there really is no resale value. And I mean, honestly, this is one of my favorite guitars that I own. I plan on keeping this for a really long time. So I don't really think I'm going to sell it anytime soon. So I'm not too worried about that. Plus, one thing about this guitar is it's just a single knob guitar. If you look at this control cavity, you have this huge control cavity. All that's in there is a volume pot and your jack. So I mean, you have all this empty space. So I think this guitar is a perfect candidate for a kill switch. And also, I've been wanting to do a kill switch on this guitar. It seems like lately, every time I pick it up and play, and I'm thinking how it'd be really cool if I had one. So I just decided to just bite the bullet and go ahead and do it on this one here. So anyways, why don't I go ahead and get things set up to install the switch, and then yeah, we'll take it from there. All right, as you can see, I'm past the point of no return here. I got the hole made here. When I make holes in guitars, what I'll do is, this is actually the nut that goes around the switch on the back. I put some tape on there, and then I put it over where I want to drill, kind of make a little bit of a template, give me an idea of how big of a hole I want to drill. And then I usually start off slow. I'll go drill maybe like a 1/2 inch hole, and then I have a rotary tool that I use to open up the hole until the switch actually fits. See, it fits in there and drops in pretty good there. And then I also, so I don't run into any wires on the other side, I'll actually tape the wires off to the side there. So then I'm not gonna run the drill bit through any wires or into any wires and get them all tangled up. But yeah, so Yeah, I did kind of mess up a little bit. There's a scuff with I scuffed it up a bit with the rotary tool because I made the bonehead move of taking the tape off too soon and touching it up. But oh well, it happens. Other than that, I think it looks pretty good. So yeah, I just need to basically wire up the switch, solder it in, and then we'll take it from there. Alright, so I got it all wired up and soldered in. As you can see, I have one wire going to the hot out, or the tip of the jack, and then the other wire going from the switch to the ground or the sleeve of the jack. You do want to wire it directly to the jack. Most of these push button switches are normally open, but a lot of people intuitively they want to wire it up in series, and you actually want to wire it up like this, because if you wire it up in series, what will happen is every time you hit the switch you'll get a loud pop, kind of like when you rip a cable out of a guitar with the amp on. Some people will wire it from the switch, like on the ground side to the switch, to the volume pot or the central grounding point. That way is fine too. Either way works just fine. You're basically both, in both cases you're wiring it to ground, and then and both will work, because the idea is basically when you hit the switch you want to basically short out the whole guitar, and that cuts out the signal to the switch, or to the amp. So yeah, looks like everything appears to be working. I did test it. Seems to be working the way it should, so I'll go ahead and put it back together, then I'll give you a demo, show you how it works. Alright, so yeah, I got the control plate back on and the guitar put back together. Been messing around with this guitar for a little while with the Killswitch in, and I couldn't be happier with how this mod turned out. It's working perfectly, and I think it looks pretty cool in the guitar with that red metallic cover against the blue finish. Looks pretty cool. I think I did a pretty decent job, other than that little scuff that I put in it when I was making the hole. But oh well, stuff like that happens. Another reason why you don't do this type of mod on an expensive guitar. As careful as you are, stuff like that can still happen, and better it happens on a $200 guitar than a $3,000 Gibson. But anyways, why don't I just kind of give you a little bit of a demo and show you how the switch works. So, for instance, you hit a chord. See how it cuts the signal out when you hold the switch down, and then the signal comes back when you release it. Some people do like to use the toggle switches. I prefer the push button switches whenever I've done kill switches on my guitars, just because I feel like you can just go faster with them. Yeah, stuff like that. And then you can kind of do some cool like Morse code. If you can get the guitar to feedback, you can do some cool like Morse code type noises. I can't get the guitar to feedback, but I'll hit a harmonic, kind of make it sound like feedback, and give you an idea. Stuff like that. And then yeah, a lot of cool things you can do with the kill switch, stuff like that. A lot of really cool things you can do with it. So there you go. That was the Killswitch mod I did on my Kramer Baretta Special. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Also, feel free to let me know what you would have done to this guitar, or if you have a Kramer Baretta Special, what you've done to it also. Or if there's any mods you think I should do to this guitar. I don't have any future plans to mod it right now, but I'm always open to suggestions. As always, thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more.